To give some explanation and a little background knowledge for this whole encounter, I was around 15 at the time this occurred. My family and I were camping out in the middle of nowhere. I was the oldest kid in the RV, so you can probably imagine how it felt to have no one else my age around to get in trouble with. Seeing as there was a good 2-year gap between me and the actual children, I was basically forced into a mind-numbing state of boredom while awaiting our arrival to the campground. To finally get to hang with other teenagers was a straight-up blessing, to be honest. My parents trusted me. A lot. I liked my fun, but I liked getting home in time for dinner equally as much. So when I was gone most of the day with the other people from the camp, it was no big deal. The only rule was that I had to be back at the RV to eat dinner before 8:30 p.m. So picture this. A group of teenagers, 15 to 16 years old, out in the middle of the woods, with no adult supervision for the vast majority of the day. A real recipe for success right there, am I right? Anyway, this particular day, we found a cool little deer trail we hadn't found in the 2 years we'd been there before. On second thought, though, it didn't really seem like a deer trail. It snaked through a really thick part of the underbrush, had maybe a foot of clear ground, and about 3.5 feet up was clear from branches. It's really hard to pick out of the brush, unless you know where it is. It was promptly explored, marked with a broken branch outside of the entrance, and just as quickly forgotten. Except for this interesting little tunnel I noticed. It seemed like a special spot to me, I guess. That night, while we were all eating dinner, one of the adults suggested that we play Manhunter out in the woods at night. Not everyone was totally on board with this idea, but they were quickly overruled. Everyone got a flashlight, and we split into teams. For those of you who aren't sure what Manhunter is, here's a quick rundown. Everyone playing is given a flashlight, and they are divided into 2 groups. It's basically like glorified flashlight tag, but there's a catch. As you catch people, you have to correctly identify who they are, and if you can, they join forces with you, the hunter. The last man standing gets a candy bar or something, whatever is being offered as a prize. That's how we played it anyways. For the first round, I got lumped in with the runners, those who are getting chased by the hunters. We got a 5-minute head start to run, hide, climb a tree, scatter, whatever we wanted to do to evade the hunters. Usually, I'm the one up in the tree, but that never really worked out as being a winning spot. So, to try and score a win for once, I decided to play offensively. One surefire method of escape that stood out to me, that crude little path through that thicket. It took me most of the head start time to find the damn thing, since it was so well hidden and out of the way. I passed hiding spots. I heard hushed, smothered whispering between siblings who were questioning my actions, like a snake slinking through blades of grass. It should be noted that I have bat hearing. My ears are possibly my greatest asset in this game. But just as I was nearing my destination, I hear the short blast of the air horn, announcing that the 5 minutes are up. I was fully committed to securing this W, so I swan dove into this tiny little path in the undergrowth. Shuffling on my hands and knees, I shimmied myself about halfway in, awkwardly crouching, misinformed elephant style. The hunters do an initial sweep through the trails, looking for obvious hiders and people caught trying to change spots. When they finally get close to me, they see the dead end and go straight back. I tried to readjust myself and crawl further down the tunnel. I honestly don't even know how it happened, but I managed to discover an even more hidden path within that one. And accidentally, I dragged my stupid body down the rabbit hole. Except instead of the dead end I was expecting, this one ended in a slight hollow. Now, I never want to fully describe exactly what I found there. I just can't. I can only muster the courage to communicate that it was a younger looking woman. She was in a state of undress, covered in lacerations and wounds, curled up in the fetal position. Her glassy, glazed eyes seemed to look straight through me. I won't go any further than that. I was too scared to scream, and I froze there, while dark mahogany stains formed on my jeans. I froze there, in a pseudo-catatonic position, for what felt like hours. And then, I heard someone else coming down that path. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been so scared that for a moment, one insane moment, you truly consider something incredibly stupid as a viable option to escape? This was one of those times. I let out a short, trembling whimper under my breath and started moving. Whoever was on the path stopped, and then eagerly started moving forward again. I could hear the panting, uneven breaths of a man, a horribly terrifying marker of whoever it was, getting closer and closer to me by the second. By some wondrous, beautiful miracle, he missed the path leading to the brushy hollow. I heard him moving down past the entrance, dragging something clunky and awkward behind him. I heard clinking noises and the occasional effort to silence the small, sharp noises. I heard a low curse somewhere toward the end of the tunnel, and I blasted out of that undergrowth like a bullet forcing its way out of a barrel. His cracks, crashes, and obnoxious rustling consumed me. I heard the man draw a quick, sharp breath, and he began to move toward me again. The hoarse, deep panting was getting closer and closer, a testament to how slowly I was exiting. Somehow, I exploded out of the entrance, got up onto my wobbly, tingling, half-asleep legs, and took off, booking it down the trail as fast as humanly possible. The unknown pursuer was right on my tail for a bit, but it seemed like he was too exhausted to chase me at that speed for long. I'm still shocked that my legs stayed underneath me. With adrenaline coursing through my body at the speed of light, trying to get away from whoever was behind me, it was like trying to run through water. What felt like an eternity later, I finally reached the main trail leading back to our campsite and ran like the wind, screaming at the top of my lungs. Confused faces looked out from the trees, and I think someone called after me. Reaching camp was easy, but trying to explain why I woke up half the camp and bolted out of the woods at breakneck speed was quite a bit harder. When I finally choked out the words to explain myself, I remember a profound, insidious silence throughout the group of adults at the mouth of the trail. I really don't remember a whole lot from that point on. I think I may have even developed some kind of amnesic barrier, subconsciously, a safety mechanism of sorts, I suppose. just to get by? I know the cops were called, and I'll never forget my mother and aunt, like bats out of hell, ran shrieking and wailing along the trail, calling for the other kids to come back to safety. When someone's yelling like that, you don't ignore it. They rounded everyone up in 30 seconds flat and barreled their way back to the campsite. The police found a man out there in the woods, creeping along the trail, clutching a knife. A large black garbage bag containing a variety of sharp instruments and a saw was found abandoned on the trail. Some of them speckled and smeared with dried blood. I don't think there's really any getting over it. It's been 20 years since then. I'll be 36 this year, but not much has changed. I still have nightmares sometimes of the man chasing me, breathing heavily down the back of my neck, trying to catch me. And sometimes he succeeds.